So basically, why don't you guys kind of start off and tell everybody a little bit about what it is we do, what BugsRlame is.
Justice, go ahead.
Yeah, my name is Justice. This is Liam.
I'm Ryan.
We're all the partners here at BugsRlame. BugsRlame, we're kind of like we're a sales force. We get hired out by other pest control companies to go and do door-to-door sales for them and bring in revenue during the summer.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. Basically what it is a lot of these pest control companies, they have, yearly subscription services. And if you can sign somebody up for 1 year, most of the time these pest control companies will have you stay on for years to come. So what BugsRlame is what we do is essentially bring that customer on for the first year, and they'll give us a chunk of that revenue, and that's where our commissions come from, and then they will keep all that recurring revenue. So that kind of helps, if that kind of helps give you an idea of what it is exactly we are.
On average, they say, like, especially the company we're at, Hawks, if they were to sign up on the door, they're plan to stay as active customers for 4.5 years.
Wow.
So with that, we get the chunk on the first, and of course the company gets the rest. So it works out both ways.
It's not bad. 4.5 years as well.
It's not bad.
Especially if you're there for a few years, then it works out pretty well.
All right, let's run through a couple of these questions here. So Ryan, tell us what made the biggest impact in your life. Like, how did you get into this, and how has it changed who you are, for better or for worse?
That's a loaded question there.
How long have you been doing this, Ryan?
I've been doing this for 3 years, so I'm going to my 4th summer. How I got into this? I feel like it all started, Liam came back after his first summer, and I was going to Point Loma Nazarene University. Sea Lions, let's go. And I was at this finance meeting, and this guy was sitting in the front of the class, Liam and I were just bombarding this guy with questions. And this guy, we're like, why do you think you got hired? What's your 5-year goal? Are you happy with what you're doing right now? Asking this guy's questions. And he just didn't have it, like, he was stuck in that 9 to 5 and he didn't know how to get out of it.
Help everybody understand kind of like the background of it. So basically what it was like an informational speech some guy had, and he was an accountant or like a
finance guy.
Or a finance guy.
Like an analyst, but like a low level analyst.
But
it was like 27, been working the same job for like 6 years, hasn't been promoted type thing. So I think that just honestly really scared me. I was like, I didn't want to get stuck in that 9 to 5, working 50 out of 52 weeks out of the year.
Right.
Like, I wanted to take more responsibility and more charge in my own life. And then Liam was in that same meeting with me. And then I think he saw the fear of God in my eyes in that meeting. And he was like, look, bro, let me just take you out to lunch. Let me just tell you, like, my experiences, my why of doing this. And then after that, it was pretty easy. Definitely a lay down after that. But it was good stuff. Yeah. Loved it.
That's badass, man. That's awesome.
Yeah.
How did you get into this, dude?
Okay, so I'll kind of tell you guys my story about it. So basically,
a little more random.
Yeah, I was 18 years old, and then I wanted to be a pro surfer. And unfortunately, we all have to come to that realization that we're not going to be professional athletes. And that was a hard pill to swallow for me. But I was working as a lifeguard, and I realized I was like, you know what? I do not want to make $15 an hour for the rest of my life. So my dad kind of came, he's like, hey, look, if you want to go be a lifeguard and try to be a pro surfer and not make any money, then you can continue doing that. But I was like, no way, not going to happen. So he said, hey, look, I'll pay for your college if you go, and you got to commit to it. And I was like, for sure, let's do that then. And I ended up moving from Hawaii to San Diego and going to Point Loma Nazarene University.
Let's go.
And
Sea Lions.
When I got in there, that first year, I was sitting in my accounting classes, my finance classes, and I did not like it whatsoever. I didn't really feel like college was teaching me anything of value. And I started to look at the people around me. Because I went to school a bit late, I took 2 years off between high school and college, I started to see my friends graduate and get their jobs. And when I saw that, I would ask them, hey, how do you like your position? And they would tell me like, oh, it's okay. Like, it's all right. And I could just tell in their voice that it wasn't really where they wanted to be. You know what I mean? I kind of relate it to that word sensuit, a longing for we know not what.
Yeah.
And it's like that feeling of you want more, but you don't really know what it is. And you're not really that content. Like, you're living your life, but you're not completely content with everything, even though everything's going pretty good. That's kind of how they felt, and that's kind of the same way I felt too. And so once I realized that, I was like, okay, I'm not going to be, and number two, my grades were terrible. So I was sitting in accounting and finance class, and my grades weren't very good. And I realized, I was like, okay, there's no way I'm going to be a doctor. There's no way I'm going to be at Goldman Sachs, on Wall Street. I'm not, a super finance genius or anything like that. So long story short, I came to the conclusion for myself that I needed a way to make money. I needed to find money, and I knew living in Hawaii, housing was super expensive. So in order to live the life I wanted, I was going to have to make a lot of money. So I've always heard that saying, you need money to make money.
It's true.
And my whole theory was go to, work in Alaska doing deep sea fishing, or work on an oil rig, because I could save up money and then potentially buy a house that way. And those fell through. And then this kid, Andy Farmer, came to me, and he had a friend of a friend he grew up with. And he told me about this thing where you can go out and make 30 grand in a summer. And I was like, no way. There's no shot. Like, it's a pyramid scheme, bro. That's what I was thinking to myself.
Red alert.
LLM.
Anytime you hear that where you're like, you can make 30 grand in a summer, you want passive income, opportunity.
Yeah.
It's like, that's when it's like, okay, red flags go up. So long story short, Andy, he convinced me to go out to Ohio. And I did it because of him, because I trusted him. He was a smart guy. And I was like, okay, I can be on the same path with this guy. And 2 weeks before we were supposed to go out to Ohio, because he was saying, oh, we're going to live together, it's going to be fun. 2 weeks before, he comes to me, he's like, you know what, Liam, I was thinking about it, and I'm not going to Ohio. So once that hit me, I realized, dang, man, like, I don't know if I'm going to do this anymore. And it became not about following Andy, but I had to ask myself, okay, is this really what I want to do? Mm-hmm. And originally I was like, you know what, I'm going to back out. But I came to that conclusion that, okay, well, Andy was super smart. He was going to crush it in a finance job. I was not. So I felt like I had nothing else going for me, and I had to do something. I had to at least try something and figure it out. So I told everybody I was going to make a ton of money. I said, hey, I committed to it. I already signed the deal. I was like, hey, you know what? I'm going to go make 30 grand. And I told everybody, my friends, my family, my dad.
Mm-hmm. Everyone. I was in those classes with Liam. Liam would go around talking about it. Yeah.
And long story short, everybody told me, yeah, no, it's a bad idea. You're going to end up making minimum wage, knocking on doors. Don't do that. They say you can make a whole bunch of money, but it really doesn't amount to that. So, me, I'm just like always going to figure out a way to just go against the grain and prove everybody wrong. So I get out there, and my first week, I'm the worst guy on the team. It was brutal. Like, I wasn't making sales, and I was looking at the people to my left and my right and thinking, like, how are these guys making sales? And I remember there was this team incentive where the owner said, hey, if anybody gets a sale from like 4 to 6, you'll get a full Applebee's dinner or whatever. So long story short, everybody in the whole team hit the incentive but me. And I remember sitting at that table and thinking to myself, okay, well, I can't sell. I'm not going to be smart at finance. I'm not going to be a doctor. I'm screwed. Like, this is it. I'm done. I was so depressed. And I called my dad, and I was like, Dad, I'm thinking about going home. And he basically said, well, you're not going to go home. You already made the decision. And I was like, that's when my heart sank, and I realized I had no other option but to make it happen. And it really scared me, because it's like, okay, I need money now. It's no longer like, what am I going to do? What am I going to find my passion? It was like, no, I need to make money. And a couple days later after that, finally, they send out one of the managers with me. His name was Spencer Hale. And we start knocking on doors, and somebody comes out super pissed off, not interested. And I'm just thinking to myself, okay, Spencer, let's go to the next door. And 2 minutes later, Spencer cracks a joke. He breaks the ice with him. And next thing you know, they're in a conversation. I'm just confused of like, what's going on? And then 10 minutes later, we're in the backyard, and the guy's reading out his American Express card for $650. And just like that, Spencer made a commission, of $150. And when I saw that happen in 10 minutes, that's when I realized,
game over.
This is what I want to do. I want to learn. It wasn't about the money for me anymore. It was, I need to learn how to have influence over people, because if I do, money will never be a problem. So
it's crazy.
That's kind of the introduction to me. I ended up, making 30 grand that first summer, doubled that, made 60. Then I went to, 275, and then it was all kind of uphill from there. So that's my third year. Just had my fourth year, and made the jump to Hawks, so I'm super excited about it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Dude, I remember one time you picking me up for dinner, and then I was like, that money's not real, and then all of a sudden Liam just goes, hey, hold on a second, pulls out his phone, and he goes, look at that, and it's just one of his pay stubs, and I literally was like so blown away. I was like, all right, what is this? I got to get into this a little bit, because when I realized money was real, and I saw how much Liam changed from that, because if you knew Liam freshman year to sophomore year, it's a pretty different person.
How so?
Dude, I remember what was it? I remember one time I was laying in my bed. It was like 11:30 on like a Tuesday. And Liam calls me up and I see him. I'm like, I don't want to answer this guy right now. And then he texts me. He's like, dude, I know we have this project due tomorrow at like 7 a.m., 8 a.m. He's like, what is it? What is it again? Like, what do I have to do? And I was like, Liam, it took me like 4 hours to do this. And then the next day, I don't even remember what you said, but I remember like helping you out with it. And you were like, oh, dude, thanks so much. And I was like, oh, dude, it's like the second week of school. And then seeing Liam go from that, come back over the summer, and he knew what he was talking about. He knew how to carry himself in a conversation. He knew how to persuade people and have influence. I was like, dang, I saw how much he could change, and I was like, kind of what you thought. Like, it's not even about the money. I saw how much he changed, and I was like, I just want to get better.
Yeah.
Like, what does it take from there? Yeah. How did you get into this, Justice?
Well, good old Liam over here. Let's see.
What job were you working at?
I know. Couldn't rub two pennies together, huh? Yeah, my story, I guess, starts, I moved out of my house when I was 18. So I've been living on my own ever since. I was working, I worked at Tilly's after that just to make some money because couldn't afford life, obviously. And then I went to Point Loma Nazarene. We all did. Let's go. I was a biochemistry major, so my plan was to be a neurosurgeon. That's his like big thing coming out of high school. You know, maybe start my own practice one day. So I was going the medical field route. And let's see, I'm 2 years in at Point Loma. I'm just dragging, working 50 plus hours a week just to pay for school. Being biochemistry, I have no life, no friends, nothing. I'm just like, this is school. This is what I worked for. I worked really hard in high school to be able to go to college. So I was like, I don't know. I'm like $60,000 in 2 years. Do I really feel like I learned anything? So I was like, I got to find something else.
Wait, what'd you just go to be?
You weren't like thinking that. You weren't thinking I got to find something.
Oh yeah,
else.
my plan was to be an EMT so I could make some freaking money. So I could do both. And then Liam was like, well, then my buddy Christian reached out to me.
And Christian, somebody I sat down with for lunch.
Christian Alfaro?
Alfaro.
Oh my
Christian,
gosh.
shout out Christian. Liam met with him, and Christian didn't want to do it. But then some reason Christian came to me and was like, dude, you really need to meet Liam. And I was like,
you got to, bro.
It's like,
why do you think he said that? Why do you think you really need to meet Liam?
I think partially, obviously, I needed money, and he knew it. That's why I was working my balls off. But he must have saw something. I don't know. Like, obviously, I think Christian, because he was like pushing me, like, you need to meet with Liam.
Because he told me, he said, you got to meet with this kid, Justice.
Yeah,
and I was like, I met Justice after the fact.
Liam would, he thought I had no shot. There's no way.
Just as I remember you came in, it was like a month before we came out, and you went into one of the trainings, didn't know any of the words, knew nothing, and I remember you walked out early, and Liam's face was like, oh my gosh, this guy doesn't know anything.
Yeah, I didn't know anything.
And then you go and just smash it.
Well,
so
funny. I signed up. I finally signed up because Liam pushed me to come meet with him, and he said I could pick ananywhere I want. I'll take you to any lunch.
This was hilarious.
Any lunch, like a steak dinner, anything.
Ruth
and me
Chris,
at the time, you know, I'm working at Starbucks, so if I eat Chipotle, that's a great meal. Like that's a whole hour's of work. You know? So I was like, Olive Garden, that's my place.
Yeah, I say, hey, Justice, you can go wherever you want to eat, man. I'll take it because it pressed me like 15 texts of him saying no, and I said, dude, just look.
Yeah, I was like, I don't want to waste your time, dude. I'm trying to be an EMT. Like, I want to go to medical school. Like, I don't want to go like do door-to-door sales. Like, how's that gonna help me? And then I sat down with Liam finally, so props to you. And then we go to Olive Garden, enjoy my salad. And he's
free salad.
Yeah.
Free salad.
The free salad that's free. And he's over here just drawing out his Jordan Belfort's straight line theory, you know? It's going right over my head. It's like, okay, whatever. I don't really care about any of this. And then he finally like tells me how much money we can make. And I'm just like, no, there's no way. That's BS. Total BS. And then he pulls out his pay stub. Showed me the same story. And I was just like, okay, where do I sign? I was like,
Right
in my
there.
head, if this guy who all my buddies are telling me is not that like great at school, it's like, I don't know, because I didn't know Liam. And I'm over here just like trying to be a surgeon. Like, why would I go with this guy, you know? But I was like, no, he's making like way more money than I could. So I tried it out. First day, I didn't do very well. I sold one on stuff we don't even sell on. I didn't know. They stayed active.
Chipmunks or something?
Yeah, chipmunks and moles. Yep, they stayed active. I checked at the end. And then second day, I didn't make any sales. So I bageled. And I was like, okay, this is it. I'll go home. Like, it's not for me. And then I have a manager at the time come and shadow me. And he knocked one door. After a whole day of me selling for 6 hours, I sold 0. First door he goes and makes a sale. And I'm just like, okay, like it's possible.
Yeah.
There's something here.
I didn't get upset. I just got really pissed.
Yeah.
I was like, if he can do it, I can do it. So I spent the whole day, next day was Sunday, I spent the whole day studying on my own, just pitching myself in the mirror, like memorizing the script. And then the next day I went and sold 6. And after that I was hooked. Like 6 sales in a day, that was like a whole month of paycheck. I saw.
And that was like $800 contracts too.
Yeah,
It was
fat
insane.
contracts, yeah.
And he was selling just 6 off the
On
bat.
your third day, yeah?
Third day.
For those
Third
of you
day.
guys who don't understand pest control, a high contract, $800, $900, $1,000 contracts really require real sales skills, because ultimately the door-to-door pitch is we can get you guys done for cheap because the trucks are here. But to go out and sell $800 to $1,000 contracts
Yeah.
and sell 6
Well,
your
yeah,
third
yeah.
day.
I remember talking to Liam, and he was just laughing at me because you don't know what you're doing going out. You have all these, you know.
Dude, I
high
remember Liam called me.
expectations.
He's like, I had no idea what was going on. And I was like, dude, is 6 easy? And Liam goes, no, we got to get out there, dude. He's like, we got to get out there.
Liam goes, he calls the manager at the time and goes, does Justice know, like,
It's a
like,
contract.
that it's contracts? It's not a one-time? And I was like, no, yeah, they're all real deals, dude. Like,
Oh
I
my
was sprinting
gosh.
in my Vans, dude, like, sprinting. And my feet were all like cramping. I couldn't walk the next day, but it was all worth it because I
That just
found
goes
the
to show you,
sales
bro.
high.
Sprinting between the doors on your third day and you got 6.
Yeah, yeah.
That's
it's pretty
sick.
cool. But yeah, the big thing for me is because I was talking to Liam before we even got out, and I was like, so you're telling me if I could sell it as high as I want? And he's like, yeah, you get paid more. And I was like, so why doesn't nobody do this? And he's like, well, you'll see. And then I got there, and my big old thing is how to sell more at the fattest contract I can. So I ended up ending the year at a 700 CVA, which the average that year was 580. So it was pretty good. I was stoked on that. And then, yeah, that was where it ended. That's where it began. Now this is going to be my 4th year too.
So let me ask you guys this. What do you think is the biggest factor in being a good first-year sales rep? Like, what makes the difference between a good first year
Strong
and
why.
the first years who don't
A strong why.
fail?
I had a very strong why. I had no backbone. So like once I was in, like I was kind of committed to it. Like if I didn't make the money, like I had no money. So like that drive pushed me way harder than other people that are like, I'll check out this job. No, I was like, once I got my like first like sales, I was like, this is what I'm doing. I don't care. Like I'm going to make this money.
Interesting.
Because we have the training. Like right now people are signing up doing 6 months of preseason training for free.
Yeah.
Like we have the training. The difference is that strong motivation factor is the why, 100%.
Yeah. What about you, Ryan? What's your perspective on it?
Mine's the complete opposite. Like my parents were paying for my college. I was blessed by that. I didn't need the money. I'm from Orange County. I was like very blessed growing up like that. Mine was, I think I was afraid to fail in life. Like I think I was like afraid to get stuck at doing something I didn't want to go do. And I would rather choose something hard to have an easy life than choose something easy that is like a hard life. So it's like, I didn't need the money. The money was great, but I was just like, what can I do to get better? And how can I get farther than everyone else? Because I was like, everyone's getting the internships. And I was like, if they're paying you that much, clearly the skills are probably going to be a little more valuable. So I thought of that and I was like, I just got to go do it. I was afraid to fail in life. I feel like that's what brought me out.
Interesting.
What do you guys think is one tip that you wish you knew going into sales your first summer?
That's easy for me. Don't be afraid to close. Close. I remember my first like 3-4 weeks, my first summer, I was afraid to close. And I could get people to say yes, and then I would be afraid to close and they'd get cold feet. And then I remember, I think it was like my 4th or 5th week or my 6th week where it was like 12, 15, and then I did my 21 week and it was at like a 660. And I remember that week I was just constantly focusing on closing, like closing. And I was like, boom, that was my best. It was the easiest, the most fun day. just focus on closing.
Yeah.
And when you're confident like that, because you're not afraid to close,
Yeah.
and you hit them with confidence, they expect it. And they see, oh, this guy's confident. He asked for the order.
Yep.
That's it. Yeah. Good point.
Yeah.
What do you think, Justice, is one thing you wish you would have known coming into your first summer?
Into my first summer, biggest thing for me, man, it was like I was subconsciously, like, I didn't realize this till my following summers. I was subconsciously capping my sales ability. And I did it through my goal setting. Like, as a rookie, I don't know what my true potential was. So why was my goal 2 a day? Like, because once you hit that 2, it's your goal, right? You have a subconscious, like, settlement. Like, you start getting complacent. You're not pushing as hard. No matter what you say, you're not. Because your backbone isn't like, I got to hit my die goal. So, like, for me, I wish going out my first year, I didn't really create a die goal. I wish I just would have just sold and kept going. Because the following year, I did, 400 accounts. And I got, like, better. But I don't see why I couldn't have done that my first year. I think the only thing capping was my own settling. Like, I'm satisfied with 2 a day. That's what stopped me from selling more, I think.
Or even like going for 4 and then being satisfied with like 3.
Exactly. Yeah. Like you don't know your skill level until you get there. Like, you should keep selling as much as you can. You got 8 hours a day, dude. I wish I was selling till 9 p.m. every single day. My first year, I want to see that first year, like, sellability.
Or the 9:30
work ethic,
late night
subconsciously. Yeah. So that's good.
good.
What about you, then?
I think for me, one thing that I wish I really would have known fundamentally is just that whoever is more certain in the interaction would have won, or will win the interaction. I think as a first year, I'd go up to doors and I'd get so many no's, and they would just take the life out of me. And after about the 15th no, when I go up to the next door and I ask for a sale, or I pitch them and they say not interested, I start believing it. So I wish I really truly understood what sales is all about, and that's just certainty. Whoever's more certain will influence that interaction all day long. So if I knew that, what I would have done was I just would have pushed harder and made them understand how certain I am about the product, and not that I try to get them to believe, as Ed Milet says, but get them to believe that I believe. Because you don't need to get somebody to believe what you're saying. You just need to get them to believe that you believe, and then that transfers of certainty can occur. So for me, I just wish I knew that whoever was more certain would always win that interaction. If I would have done that, I probably would have crushed a lot harder, because they have to be sold before you can close them, right? Of course, everybody, when you go up to the door, is going to be not interested. And I would start to believe that, but I didn't think, what are they not interested in? They didn't have it. I didn't even get a chance to tell them my pitch. And as a rookie, I think it's super important to understand that until you sell them, until you give them a reason to say yes, then it becomes a conversation. But until then, you can't really listen to them. Sales is a presentation. You got to get your presentation dialed in and perfect, and you got to get through your whole presentation, and then you can start closing and having a conversation. But until you've answered the question for the customer of why should I care, they're just going to push you away, push you away. And you have to get to that point. You have to nail your presentation, make sure it's clean, and then you can get there.
Liam, I have a question for you, because your first year you sold, 165?
170.
170 in your second year?
So I went from 170 to 200 to 330, but that was in like 4 or 5 months.
But to a 50 week.
And then I went to 415 in 2.5 months.
He had a 50 week. What was the, I want to know, just give me one pointer. I know you could do a million things. He trained with Parker for basically a year on it, right?
Yeah.
But he was definitely 3 times the salesman he's ever been. I've been working it for 3 years now.
Yeah, what was your best week before the 50 week then?
I was probably like 25 or 26.
Yeah, he didn't hit a 30 week. So what would you, give me one thing, like what was the biggest thing for you that made that transfer, that switch?
The biggest thing is, how many doors do you go to and you feel like you just don't know why they said no? You didn't understand it. I didn't know why they were saying no, and that would piss me off all my first years. But when I started training with Parker, what he was so good at is understanding what goes on in the sale and the psychology behind it. And once I understood why people are giving me certain type of objections or different type of smoke screens, it all made sense for me. Then I just had to go out and do it.
You can see that roadmap.
Yeah. Once I understand that, for example, right, I can sell somebody, but you can oversell too. When somebody's already sold on the product, sometimes I would keep selling and then I'd ask for the order and they'd say no.
Yep.
Because I didn't really address their true concern. But what I understand, somebody was sold, then I'd go, okay, now it's time to close this individual. But it took months and months of reads and applying the training that I had with Parker to that process. And once I kind of got through it and understand the psychology behind it, it became real easy. It wasn't hard.
Yeah.
And then it just became a mindset thing once I knew the psychology behind sales. But I think too many salespeople, they read a script and they become accustomed to the script. And it may work for them, but they can't apply it in different situations because they don't know the psychology of why somebody is saying yes or
It's like
no.
one track script type thing.
It's a thing. That's what we do in training. Is the cool thing is that we can see from doing this job for 4 years now, is a lot of the times rookies especially will try to think they lost the sale at the end, like, oh, he just wouldn't do contracts. That's why. What do you do there? But like when you look back at it, and I'll be like, no, you didn't lose the sale at the end. Like you took the wrong roadmap because you didn't see his objection in the beginning. Right. And so when you can see, like, just because someone says something, you can see what they really mean. If you can understand that, then you'll see the vision on how to close them. You'll see the roadmap so clear. You already know where you're going. The worst thing is to be on the door and trying to figure out where I'm at in the sale. Where do I go? Like, is he actually having objections? Do you have a smoke screen? If you could see it right away, you're going to have that momentum all the way to the close. You'll close so much faster, way more people.
Yeah. And then another thing too was understanding that motion always creates emotion, and emotion in return creates more motion. So like imagine you're on a date, right? When you're talking to a girl and the conversation's going smoothly, you know, it's likely that you can get to the next date. On the other hand, when you're on a date and you're having a conversation that goes dead, where does her emotion go? It goes down. Yeah,
it's game over.
Yeah, so once that you hit that point in a sale where it's awkward, because as the salesperson, you got to be professional and you got to know exactly where you're going every which way. And if it gets awkward and there's like this awkward moment of silence, where does their emotion go? It goes down. And then your motion stops and you're done. So understanding that a lot of times for me, I would try to sell and wait for them to say yes, as opposed to giving them a reason to say yes and closing them and assessing where they're at and knowing where to go instead. And then it's a quicker process.
Yeah. Agreed. It's night and day.
Okay.
It's a definite quicker process. That's one thing I learned this year was learning how to close faster.
Yeah, instead of like 20 minutes, you can do it in 5 minutes.
Exactly.
It feels weird. You're saying yes that quickly, but then it's very
at first satisfying. Closing, because the way I would sell would be building value to the point where it was worth
they would say
$900 to buy it, because I didn't want to sell a $500 pest control contract. But once I learned if you just hit his pain point and close, you can sell him a $900 contract because you hit their pain point right away, and you'll get a 5-minute deal. That's to change the game, 100%. Yeah.
What do you guys think? So I'm gonna segue here real quick. Why? This is a question Serge asked earlier. Okay. Why should somebody join BugsRlame?
Ooh, that's a good question. Are you saying in general or in terms of other companies?
Let's go in general first.
Okay. Well,
like why they should come out and knock on doors. Is that what you're saying?
I can give a million reasons, honestly.
Yeah. Well, let's start with door-to-door then first. Why should somebody do door-to-door sales?
Yeah, I mean, you can look at
why we did
hundreds and thousands of successful people that all started door to door.
Yeah.
And they say,
Jordan
I would start door to door.
Grant Cardone, you know, everyone, dude.
For me personally, like the biggest thing was personal growth and self-awareness I learned on the doors. I have never been so invested in learning about myself so that I can understand others. And that's something I learned so hard, because the biggest thing on the doors is one, you want to be able to push, and you want to be able to push the contract. You want to be able to knock doors, but you want to be able to utilize empathy if you want to be the best. And so that's the biggest thing I learned was you have to understand yourself in order to be truly good at using empathy on the doors. It's helped me in all aspects of life. It's not just knocking. I could talk for hours on that one. You should go.
Yeah, no, I remember us talking about that last year. Like we were talking about empathy, and I think it was you. I was like really trying to practice empathy, and I realized it was like it really just came down to the fundamentals of like caring, like not in a way of like, oh, I'm gonna try to understand you so I get an advantage over you, but it's like if I can really understand and care about my guys or like this person or like why they say no or why they say yes, then it's never about you, it's always about them. And I feel like you're always willing to work harder for other people in that way.
Yeah.
So once you understand, then it makes it a lot easier.
Well, yeah. I mean, you could totally understand someone's motivation and their reason for not doing things if you can understand, yeah, and feel their empathy. 100%. Yeah. But it's definitely the balance, because on the doors, like being pushy, right? You can empathize with them not wanting to buy.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, like finding that balance between using empathy and not using it is like, that's something I work on the doors every day. And I think the best have that down to a T. They know that line, they follow it. I'm trying to get closer to that line. 100%.
I think ultimately when you talk about empathy, Justice, I think it comes down to the principle that in order to sell, you need to be sold, right? In order to influence, you need to be influenced.
Yeah, that's good.
And I think in order to move somebody through this emotional decision of me having to spend X amount of dollars on something and a time commitment to a contract, you have to move through with them, and you have to go through that kind of emotional journey it's going to take.
Yeah.
So
That's what helps me see that vision of understanding their own objection before they even know what it is. So then you can just sell them on it the whole time. That's what I do.
And before and that's the thing, is they don't even have to say no, because you know exactly what needs to happen, and you're just going to bring them through that.
You already know what they're going to say no, so you sell them on it so they don't have to verbalize it.
Yeah, I guess that just comes from what you're saying on the reads. When you're doing your 50-week, you're like, I know what you're going to say no to, so I'm going to talk about this right now to get out of the way, so it makes it easier for you to say yes.
Yep.
Then it kind of closes that 20-minute to the 5-minute deal.
Yeah, that's the big thing I was talking about. Yeah. Seeing that objection before it's even said.
Yeah.
So empathy's one for you that you feel like would be worth it for somebody to go out because they can learn empathy.
Yeah. Well, it changed my life and how I appreciate people. Like, I would say, like, I definitely was selfish before the summer, and I had to be with where I was in life. I didn't really do anything. But learning how to care about other people in the right way, that's like kind of a skill. And that's something I started to learn. It helps me manage a lot. You got to learn how to motivate people but care for them at the same time. That's something that's a great skill to learn.
What about you? Why should somebody join BugsRlame, Ryan? Or do door-to-door sales?
I think to answer the door-to-door sales, it's really just to get you out of your comfort zone, really. Like, it's really hard to do something that no one's really probably ever knocked on doors before. Like, it's not a normal thing that people have done. So go do something out of your comfort zone. Like, that's where everyone says that's where all the growth is.
It's true.
So where Justice is talking about learning about himself, or where you're talking about like making reads about people, like there's no way you could have done that without getting out of your comfort zone to keep growing and keep building yourself.
So how has it changed you?
For me, it's like more about your mindset then. Realizing that you have your own self-limiting beliefs, and to keep changing those limiting beliefs about yourself, you have to keep growing. So it's like, oh, I can only make this amount of money during the year. Like, you probably set that on yourself. But if you go out in your comfort zone and you keep building, chances are you could probably start to convince yourself, oh, I can make double X or triple X or way more from that. So that's what I like about it.
Yeah. I think the biggest reason that somebody should go out and knock doors is because it's going to give them way more perspective on the world. They're going to get, number one, they're going to talk to every single personality type in the book. I've talked to 10,000 people, and I've had to try to get them to buy a pest control contract. And when you talk to 10,000 people, you learn a lot about people. Yeah. And in every day, we're going to be, in life, we're always communicating. So that's number one. Number two is it helps with your mindset tremendously, because once you go out and you knock on 100 doors a day, and I bageled, multiple days in a row my first summer. And once you out and knock on 100 doors a day and get yelled at and everybody's against you, it seems like, then you realize that, in order to succeed, you just have to keep pushing despite what everybody says. And I think everybody in the world, all the people on a lower level are always going to tell you what you're doing is the wrong thing. They're always going to tell you this, that, and the other thing. And the reality of it is, like, you look at Elon Musk, that guy doesn't take shit from anybody. He'd have the whole world saying SpaceX is a bad idea, but he does it anyway. Why? Because he's so certain. That's the thing that I realized is you have to learn how to take rejection. You have to learn how to be certain in your beliefs and not let anybody else tell you what they should be.
Oh, yeah.
That's good.
I'm pretty sure you guys know Vouch. Doing door-to-door, you really see who people really are.
Oh, yeah.
And it really, like, put a strong value on my close relationships. Like, you start, like, really appreciating genuine people.
Yeah.
Because to be honest, there really isn't that many of them out there. And you learn that knocking doors.
Mm-hmm.
You really
No,
do.
yeah, all the Kens and Karens out there, dude.
At least in Ohio.
But Ohio, you think is like, oh, that's the Midwest. You think they're going to be nicer out there. But it's like, yeah, it's crazy
You never
out
know,
there.
dude. Let's see.
The person that lets you merge over on a freeway, you appreciate that person way more.
So, Liam, question for you. In this industry, how do you think one like makes it big?
What do you mean?
So say you start off in this industry as a rookie, right? What's the vision? How do you get there to where you're at?
Explain where you're at first, and then go from there.
Sure. So I have a team of about 50 sales reps underneath me. They all go out and knock doors. We're going to put on likely about 10 million of revenue this summer. So I think it really more depends on what you want to do, right? Because I think for me, I liked managing people, and I've had to go through transitions from learning how to sell to learning how to teach sales to learning how to manage to learning how to teach sales. So it really just depends on what you want to do. For somebody who's just looking to get a lot, they can get a lot out of it by just going out and crushing a summer and never doing it again. I think you can get a lot out of that. Yeah. In order to, I think what really motivates me is I think I have a huge chip on my shoulder, right? Like I said earlier, everybody I felt like when I was growing up saw me as the underdog in whatever it was, surfing, school. So for me, that's kind of what motivated me to get there. As far as getting to another level, you have to understand that you're not right. And the problem is never with somebody else, it's always within you. And once I started to take ownership and be like, okay, if that guy's doing it and I'm not, why?
Yep.
And what can I do to learn from that guy? And you have to really come with an open mind and self-awareness and be really self-critical of yourself and journal and think about who you are. And that will allow you to get to the next level.
Yeah.
But until you are self-aware enough to see where you're wrong, because a lot of people, they don't know where they're wrong.
Well, it's the thing we always talk about is, me and Liam love to say, is we don't know what we don't know, right? And I think that's what I got from Liam. He taught me that my first year. Dude, you don't know what you don't know. And I was, 19, thinking I know everything. I'm selling well, I know. Now, learning that was big for me, 100%, is going to people that know and trusting them. Because you really don't know what you don't know.
It's almost like the humility behind it, knowing that you aren't the best and knowing that you can be if you are able to accept that you're doing things wrong. Yeah. Almost to do them better.
Giving it your all in your strong suits and learning in your weak suits. Yeah.
Yeah, it's good.
I think ultimately if you come with that mindset of knowing that you don't know everything, for me, it's not about learning everything, right? It's just about learning what I don't know. So at least I'm aware of that and I can either hire that out for somebody else to do, or if it's necessary for me to succeed, then I'll have to figure it out myself.
Yeah.
But that's why it's so important to know what you don't know.
It's gaining awareness on what we don't know. Yeah, instead of blindly running in.
Yeah.
Yeah, that helps with managing a ton. Because anything that goes wrong will go wrong. If there's anything we've learned in this job.
So what would you say, guys, is your number one tip in making a sale as far as a pest control contract goes?
It's not a hard sale. It's not simplifying it and pushing the contract. I think William said it's like sales is the transfer of certainty. So if you're more certain that they need it, you're going to win. Like, simplify, push the contract, be certain that they need it.
Yeah, I think honestly just being happy. No one's going to buy from someone that's really sad or pissed off or doesn't want to be there. And you could always tell if that person doesn't want to be there. So just going up to the door and being genuinely grateful that you're there and you have the opportunity and being just happy from there. Like, I feel like when I knocked with you, Justice, and like you always are making like jokes, you're always laughing. I always thought you were super serious. And then I go out and knock and I hear your recordings. I'm like, this guy's like way happier than I thought it was going to be. And then I was like, oh, interesting. Maybe I need to try to be a little happier, like deliberately. You have to consciously.
Like, what do you do, Liam, on the doors?
Well, I mean, you guys all heard my story when I was trying to be happy and I couldn't find a way to do it. I just take a pen in my mouth and it forced myself to smile, right?
Yep.
And I'd put a pen in my mouth in between doors. That way, when I rolled up to the door, I'd have a big smile on my face because the reality of it is no one will buy from somebody who's
Yeah.
angry.
Right?
Uh-uh.
Yeah.
They're already angry, so you got to. And it's just like it comes back to the certainty, right? If you can, if you're a happy person,
Yeah.
and you're more happy than they are angry, you're gonna make them happy, and you're gonna move them closer to where you need them to be.
Yep.
That's good.
I remember I would just every time I get in a little slump in my head in the day, I would just play music, and I would just be banging in between doors. Take me back to California. La la la, baby. And that would get my mood up, and I'd go and sell the next door. That's how it is. Music was the big thing for me in between doors. Helps a lot.
It's just those really small things that you are in control of that you can do to make yourself happier.
Like your mood.
Yeah.
You are in
I sing
control of your
between the
mood.
doors.
No one's
honestly.
in control of your mood except you.
Yeah.
And understanding that is huge.
Yeah.
Huge.
Like, do you sing when you're walking between doors?
Oh,
You just
dude,
listen to music?
I'll like scream
Same,
between
dude.
doors, dude. I don't care. Like, I got to make sure I'm mentally prepared for that next door.
Yeah.
'Cause if he's a potential yes, I am not letting the guy that pissed me off also take money
Before.
from me.
Yeah.
No shot. No way.
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
It's fun to sing because you're just like, it's hard to be angry and sing.
It's true.
Really, right? Like,
Unless it's an
happy
angry song, you know?
that's true.
Okay. So I want to know this from both of you guys. What do you think made the biggest impact of your life doing this job?
Biggest impact. Like, explain. It's broad.
Where did this? It's tough. Yeah, it's a tough question. Where do you feel like doing door-to-door sales has had the biggest impact on your life specifically?
Self-confidence.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I could pull up videos.
Yeah.
I do that all the time. To anyone that's new, I show them my first pitch, and it's not the pitch I'm looking at or the words. It's my body language.
The tonality. Yeah.
Tonality, body language, eye contact. I can't even look at anyone in the eye for more than like 2 seconds, or like I can't hold it. Biggest thing for me is confidence. Confidence changes everything. Your posture, the way you look at life, what you think you can do, what you can't do, how you see people like looking at you. So one thing is, I think the biggest thing people need to learn early in life is self-confidence. It's a huge skill. People who are confident will sell well.
The hard part, though, is what does confidence come from? Experience. So you can't really have confidence without going.
Well, you
out
have
and
to
doing
do something to gain confidence.
Yeah.
And so, like, this job's a great way to gain confidence, obviously. But that's something, like, younger people, if they learn the value of self-confidence at a younger age, they'll be more applied to take risks. They'll be down to do things.
Yeah.
Instead of just sticking in college. Yeah. Yeah, instead of swallowed by fear, exactly.
That's a good question.
I'm just going to go right in and
Yeah, go for it.
piggyback off yours, Justice. I think confidence for me, too. That's the biggest impact it's made. I feel once I realized that I can go into a neighborhood and make $1,000 a day at least, this is as a rookie,
Without a doubt.
without a doubt, I knew that I would be okay for the rest of my life. Worst case scenario, I'll make $1,000.
Yeah, worst case scenario, go knock a couple doors.
So,
4 years old
also,
and broke.
also, I think a big I think there's a lot of freedom in not caring about what other people think. And once you knock on enough doors and people yell at you and they, 16-year-old girls are driving by in their BMWs laughing at you when you're on the Segway. Once you learn to not care about what other people think, that's freedom.
Yeah.
And then you can go try things that others won't because nobody else will do them because they're too afraid what everybody else would think. And that's how this job has impacted my life for sure.
Yeah. Agree.
I think for me, it'd probably be the fact that you can do it. Like if you put your mind to it, like you can really do anything from there. And so before, right, like you were saying, you talked to your dad, you're like, oh, I don't know, I might come home. And then you went out and did it. And then after that, I feel like it kind of ties into confidence a little bit because you're confident enough in yourself to know you can go through anything, you can do anything from there.
Yeah.
So I'd be like that for me, like proving it to myself, I can do the shit. And then like going out and actually doing it. I feel like that's the biggest thing.
Yeah.
for me.
And paper to action.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
Liam, I want to ask you this one. Who do you look up to when it comes to sales?
I think who I look up to the most when it comes to sales, number one is going to be Parker because obviously he trained me, and he was the guy who got me from 25 to 50 a week.
Oh yeah.
On a more larger note, I think Jordan Belfort's a hell of a salesman. I don't know how he is as a person, and that definitely matters. But as far as the sales books I've read, he really intrigued me because he had a phenomenal way of teaching sales. And I think a lot of people are natural born closers. Like, they go out and they just sell because they know how. Jordan Belfort's straight line theory, and I've read the book like 15 times, the way he organized the pitch, selling penny stocks, simplified it and made it so clear what has to happen to everybody. I think that was some of the best sales training that you could have. And that's why I understand that at Stratton Oakmont or whatever, firm they had, it was insane. They must have made a ton of money, but he was so good at sales training. And I think that's why I really look up to him as far from a sales perspective. Yeah. There's a lot of gurus out there on Instagram they just don't know what they're talking about. And Jordan Belfort's one of those guys who knows.
Yeah.
And it's legit.
Oh yeah, he knows.
It's like in him. It's like literally him. Like, he was just born with it. He talks about, like, he just instinctively had great tonality, and then he was like, why? And then kind of just went from there, which is the crazy part, that he didn't really probably have to train that hard. It was just in him. The
thing is, I respect is he learned how to duplicate.
Yeah.
Like, perfected that.
Yeah.
That's why his training is so good, because now, like, anyone that knows nothing about sales can read that book and have some type of, like, skill now in sales. He made it so easy.
Who do you look up to, Justice, in sales?
For sales?
Yeah.
I'd have to go with Parker for now. It might change. I don't know. Right now, for sure, Parker. There's nobody around me at all that knows anything close to sales as he does.
Yeah.
I learn something new talking to him every time. We've been working with him for like a year and a half now.
Yeah.
He's the best.
Yeah. I guess, like, around me in my circle right now that I could, like, text or reach out to would definitely be Parker, but also Ryan Serhant. That guy, it's crazy what he's done in the last 10 years of being a real estate agent, where in 10 years now he went from doing Craigslist ads on real estate, no mentor, no nothing, went to New York with nothing. And then now the things that he's built with how hard he's worked and the things that he's learned about sales and real estate, now he's worth hundreds of millions of dollars. Started his own company. That, I think, is, like, pretty legit. Like, he just went out and did it. Like, he did everything himself, which I respect.
Yeah.
It's kind of like you, Liam. Like, you just went out and did it. You, like, figured it out. You did it yourself, and now look at you go kind of from there. It's like, I respect that. It's like, it wasn't handed, you went out and did it.
Appreciate it.
I think that's sick.
Yeah, it's dope.
Yeah. Even with Justice, you're better at it, but you still do pretty well.
I do my best,
Yeah, you do your best. He goes off.
We go off.
So why are you guys excited about Hawks? What's the difference between where we were at last, and why do you think it's a better position where we're at now?
I feel like that's pretty easy. Like, the resources, like, having so many things now, it's almost, I like what you said before. Now it's almost an excuse there's no excuses not to do well with everything. Like, the recruiting training, the sales training, the office, everything that we know right now, the Zoom trainings that we have, like, it's crazy the amount of stuff that we have that's available to us that I feel like you don't utilize it and you don't get better. Now it's your own fault. It's not like we really have to go out and search it, So I really like that. It's also the sales therapist, like, that's super nice.
Yeah.
Like, everything that they're willing to do for us is pretty legit. So
What about you? Why Hawks?
Why Hawks? The big thing for me, when it comes to Hawks, you go to their meetings, you go to their Zoom calls, you go to their conferences. It's like there is no sense of complacency in this company at all. Everything is big steps ahead, full force, right? This is my 4th year doing this. I'd never put as much effort in the off season I'm working full days, pretty much 5 days a week. Liam's pretty much working every day in the off season, and I want to do that. Like, that has instilled this drive into me as we have to be the best, and we have to go and take Hawks to the next level. And that drive and, like, chip on our shoulder too we get from coming here it's sick. It's not comfortable. It's not safe like it was where we were or we just come back, we could do the same thing again and it'll be okay. Like, no, I'm ready either to take this to the next level or be done. Right. And so that's like that drive we get that at Hawks. And
you want to win, basically. You want to be the best.
we want to be the best, dude. And if we're getting, 5 resource trainings from the company a week, and we're not even 6 months, 7 months till knocking, we have 6 months of 4 or 5 trainings a week. Like, how are you not going to be the best at sales?
Then it's on you.
It's on you.
That's what I'm saying.
Exactly.
It's on you.
And that drive is going to make us sell more than we've ever sold.
Yeah.
I know that without a doubt.
I think fundamentally what it comes down to is the fact that at the previous company we were at, we were, it was a great company. We were happy. We could go out and make money.
Oh, definitely happy. Yeah.
But ultimately, we were the ones that pushed and decided. At this company, it's the first time I've been in a culture that's pulling me from the top. All the way from Mike Paulus, who's, took 2 companies public at 30 years old, to the lower level reps, the intensity's there. Everybody's willing to learn and trying to be the best every day. And I think when you're surrounded by people like that, that's it. That's all you need. Yeah. It's just going to happen inevitably.
It's weird to not wake up and want to learn.
Yeah. Because then it's like you sit there and you're like, you just have an itch.
Yeah.
What is it? How can I get better today?
Exactly.
It's like the 1% better, the 1% worse every day.
Liam, for you, man, especially when it comes towards the off season, how do you stay motivated?
I think the biggest key to staying motivated for me, like I said, there's that drive of the chip on my shoulder. I think I'm coming from another company, and there's a lot of key players or big players at Hawks, and I want to be able to compete and get on those guys' level. Number 2, though, is understanding clearly what exactly my vision is. I have a vision board where I look at what exactly I want, everything I want, and I make my plan so detailed that nothing's abstract. I think a lot of times when entrepreneurs start a company, there's so many variables, there's so much things that they don't know to be doing. For me, I try to make my plan so detailed to the point where the only decision I have to make is whether or not to do it. I'm not thinking about anything. I make my plan so clear, my vision so clear that I know what I want to do. I know what I have to do. And I just got to go do it.
Yeah.
That's what keeps me motivated, is understanding what's at the end of the rainbow.
Clear vision.
Yeah.
And making it easy as possible to go do it.
Well, it makes it easier when you know what it is. But if you don't know what you're aiming at,
you don't even know if you're missing.
Yeah. Exactly.
It's good.
Yeah. I agree with that a lot. A clear goal is huge. I mean, that's something that basically any speaker comes up and talks about. Make sure you have clear, defined goals. But it's real. I mean, how much of us actually have clear, defined goals? We've heard it a million times. Yeah. What about you, Ryan? How do you stay motivated?
I feel like I don't like to make it about me. I like to make it about my guys. Like, I see my guys right now, and they're struggling to pay off school, or they're struggling to pay rent. And that's what motivates me, because I see them and I see their potential of where they can be. And I want to push them to be where I know they can be. Because some of my guys, no one pushes them outside of me. And I'll reach out to them, text them, and I'm like, dude, you can do it. Because I like how you guys do it to me. You're like, you can do it. I remember my first year recruiting, I'd do 4 meetings a week. And Liam was like, we can do 7 meetings a week. And I was like, that just blew my mind. And then now pushing these guys, it's that's what motivates me, is that making sure that these guys are good, they're happy, they're successful, they're doing well. Because then it's hard to run out of energy for other people when you love them like that.
Yeah, so. It's true.
Yeah.
So my question to you guys is, what type of people do you think fit best in our culture, or would do the best at BugsRlame?
I think people that just want experience, they want to know more, they want more out of life. If you're looking just to learn something about sales, marketing, learn some money, have some great connections, those are the people we want, savages, the people that want more out of life.
Yeah, the people that would do best in our culture, one would be self-motivated people. It's very hard to teach someone how to motivate themselves.
Yeah.
We work on that, but you can't really micromanage people. They have to have their own drive and will to do it. So like I said, with a strong why backing that. And 2, When it comes to people, I think the best in this job are very competitive too. They're self-driven but competitive. Because for me, that's how I am. I'm self-driven, but when I put myself in a competitive scenario, that drive is 10x, right? So if you care about winning and you care about achieving your goals are actually like a meaning to you. Like if you don't hit that goal, you'll actually be pissed off at yourself. Then I believe those are the best at this job, executing. Because when it comes to this job, consistency makes the best. You can have a great day, right? You can have a great couple days, but the best of the best have great weeks consistently, great months.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think the people that would do well at this job are just people who are, in a way, they're strong-minded and slightly hard-headed.
Mm-hmm.
You have to be self-aware, and that's kind of that phase. But at first, you have to have that mentality that I'm going to get through this, and I don't really care about anything else but what I'm doing right now. I think focus is a big word to describe the person that would do well. I think, ambition, drive, hunger. Those are the people that would do well. And if you're complacent and you're just like, yeah, I'm just looking for security, I want to be, have a solid paycheck coming in consistently, then this isn't the place. You have to really want more, because there's 3 types of compensation, right? There's the salary jobs, and those are good for the people who don't work hard at all. There's the salary plus commission, right? Who are good for the people who are kind of like those middle ground, because obviously the top producers always have to compensate for those lower level guys. But in a 100% commission job, you have to have that drive, or else you're going to fail. And that's where you can make the most money if you do have the drive. But if you don't have the drive, then it's not the place for you, for sure.
Yeah.
So where do you guys see BugsRlame in 2022? What's going on next?
2022, huh? Well, projected wise, like Liam said, we're projecting to do around 10 million in 4 months. Previous year we did about 3.6.
No, we did like 5.5 million this year.
5.5 total. Yeah. 5.5 million. So we're trying to go for 10. Definitely on pace for that so far. What else? We're gonna have 2 offices is our goal as well. Open 2 new branches, so we're expanding.
I think, as far as it goes, I think we're going to be known. Like, people are going to know us in the industry. Like, we're going to really make a name for ourselves pretty soon. People are going to know, like, BugsRlame. Those guys, that's a large team. They know what they're doing. They can go and sell. They can go crush it.
What about you, Liam?
So I think I'm going to focus on the tools, I guess, that we're going to have. As far as BugsRlame in 2022, of course, we're going to go big. Of course, we're going to hit the 10 million. But I think the biggest thing is for the people that do hop on, they're going to be around a group of people that are really inviting, welcoming, and giving. And on another note, they're going to have the best sales training in the world. And they're going to have the people pushing them to get to the next level. Because for us, we all want to get to the next level. We all want to make more money, have more time to do whatever the hell we want. And we don't want to have other people in control of our lives. And I think for the people that want to jump on, it's going to be the perfect environment, because it's going to give them the roadmap to get where they want to be. I think a lot of entrepreneurs, they don't have that roadmap. They just go start their own company, and a lot of times the world can take the drive out of them. Mm-hmm. At BugsRlame, we're going to be the fire that, we're going to be pouring gasoline on the fire that drives everybody. And that's going to help tremendously. And we're going to give them a perfect pathway with the sales training, with the recruiting training, with the motivation, with the sales therapist. There's no way to fail. And I think that's what's going to go down in BugsRlame in 2022.
Culture of winners, baby.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
Cool.
Yeah. Well, this is BugsRlame podcast. Check us out on Instagram. It's just BugsRlame. We also have a website, BugsRlame.
Yeah, we do.
What is it, BugsRlame.com? What do we got right now?
Yeah, BugsRlame region. We'll figure it out.
Yeah, we're working on that. So yeah, thanks for joining in.
Peace out, guys.